What's going on here? It's Jacob Wade from Roadmap Money, and I wanted to have a little bit of a fun experiment. Everybody's heard of ChatGPT. AI is taking over the web, and I wanted to see if it was as smart as everybody says it is. So I'm going to ask it personal finance questions to see what type of response it gives. And maybe we no longer need people like me, and you can just let AI do all the thinking for you. All right, let's check it out. Okay, so let's start asking it some questions. I've got ChatGPT up here, and we're going to ask it the number one money question: how do I save more money? Let's check it out. It says saving money can be a challenge, but there are several strategies you can use to help you reach your financial goals. Number one, create a budget to help you understand your expenses and identify areas you can cut back. Number two, track your spending. Number three, reduce unnecessary expenses. Number four, increase your income. Number five, automate your savings. Number six, avoid debt. Number seven, plan for large expenses. And number eight, shop around for the best deals. Remember, the key to saving money is to make it a priority and to be consistent. By taking steps each day to reduce your spending and increase your income, you can reach your savings goals over time. Wow, that took like 30 seconds. And honestly, I'm not really seeing anything initially wrong with this answer at all, because this is the same thing I would walk you through as a coaching client, the same thing that I have in my online courses. You're going to need to create a budget, track your spending, and lower your unnecessary expenses, and then you're kind of tapped out on budgeting, right? That's pretty much all you can do. You can go, okay, where's my money been going? Let's track it for a while. Let's become familiar with my spending, and then let's cut out any unnecessary expenses. I think a piece here might be that's missing. I would put this as number four, is to optimize your expenses. So not just like lower the ones that are unnecessary, but even your necessary expenses, your fixed expenses like your bills. There are ways to go through and optimize those things. So you can call and negotiate lower rates on your debt. You can call and negotiate your internet bill and your cell phone bill. You could shop around and find better deals. So that could be a way to increase your savings rate that ChatGPT did not put in here. Automate your savings. I love the idea of automation, using savings buckets strategy that I have, where you bucket things into small sections. Avoid debt. Yep. But if you do have debt, again, negotiate those interest rates down. So I would put that as number seven, is to negotiate your interest rates down, or surf your high interest credit cards to a 0% credit card, for example. Plan for large expenses. Again, that's my savings bucket strategy, and shop around for the best deals. This is pretty solid. I think we're in trouble here. Man, this is amazing. All right. We're going to go on to question number two. Okay. We're going to ask it, how much do I need to save for college? Great question. The cost of college can vary widely depending on the type of institution you choose, whether it's public or private school, and the location. Yep. According to College Board, the average cost of tuition and fees for 2020 to 2021 academic year was about $40,000, and $10,000 for state residents at a public college, and $26,000 for out-of-state residents attending a public university. Okay, so this is great. They're giving us stats up front. And then to determine how much you need to save for college, you need to take into account special circumstances and goals. Here's some things to consider. Start early. Estimate your total cost of attendance. Consider your family's expected contribution if you have one. Factor in financial aid and make a savings plan. It's important to note that the cost of college can change over time due to inflation and other factors. So it's a good idea to reevaluate your savings plan regularly to make sure you're on track. It's a good idea to start saving as early as possible and be realistic about the possible total cost of attendance. This will help you develop a savings plan that works for you and give you the best chance to be able to afford the cost of college. Man, they really, again, this is a nice, succinct summary that can tell you what you need to do. So, man, I want to give this one a 10 out of 10. This one is pretty spot on. Did a great job. What is a good age for kids to learn about money? This is a great one because I have 4 kids. I would love to know what artificial intelligence thinks about my parenting. It's never too early to start teaching kids about money and financial literacy. The earlier they start learning, the more time they have to develop good habits and make informed decisions. Here are some general guidelines. Ages 3 to 5, start learning about the basic concepts of money, such as coins and bills and what they can be used for. Somewhat. It's not super relevant in the digital world, but yeah, learning about denominations and how much money things are. Ages 6 to 10, kids at this age can start learning about budgeting, spending, and saving. They understand the difference between wants and needs, encourage them to set savings goals. Great. Teenage years, they can start learning more about complex financial concepts such as credit, interest, and investing, and you can start teaching them about responsible credit card use. 14 and up, they should have a solid understanding of basic financial concepts and be ready to start learning more about retirement planning, taxes, estate planning, etc. It's important to remember that every child is different and may be ready to learn about money at a different age. Okay, I feel like this is a pretty generic response. And I do appreciate that they list out the types of things you can teach your kids, but man, I've been teaching my kids about the power of compound interest in investing since they were old enough to talk. And maybe that's just me, but I feel like grasping that concept was one of the most important things I ever learned ever. And if I had learned it at a young age, budgeting, spending, saving, all that is like a good baseline to have. Like, hey, yeah, put some of your money aside, but use that money, put it to work. Don't just kind of like, oh yeah, I know where a couple of buckets to put them in. Take advantage of compound interest. It's so important. I would put investing as early as possible. And here's the thing. I've got 4 kids at this point. Kids are not stupid. Kids are extremely, extremely intelligent, more than we would give them credit for ever. And they can absorb complex financial concepts more than we think if you can break it down in a simple way. So if you can find a simple way to teach your kids about some of these more important concepts like credit, interest, investing, debt, credit cards, loans, mortgages, leverage. I've been doing that since, again, they were definitely under 10 years old. My oldest is 11 at this point. So I think this is a a good list, but I wouldn't go according to these ages. I would really, trust your kids to be able to handle some of the more complex financial teachings, and they're going to be better for it. How to start investing. Let's see what it says. It's a tough one. It's actually writing very slowly at this point. Investing is a great way to grow your wealth over time, and there are many options available to suit different goals, time horizons, and risk tolerances. Here are some steps to help you get started with investing. Set goals. That's a great step number 1. I'm a big fan of setting goals and then reverse engineering them to figure out what you need to save. And it's taking its time. Assess your risk tolerance. Okay, so risk tolerance is basically how much am I willing to watch my money go up and down to capture long-term gains. So if you have a high risk tolerance, usually when you're younger, you're under 50 years old, you usually have a little bit of a higher risk tolerance, and you can invest a majority of your wealth into things like stocks and ETFs and things that have more of a volatility because your timeline's a lot longer. As you get closer to retirement, you might not have a high risk tolerance. So not a bad plan there. All right, number 3, educate yourself. Okay, I think that should be number 1. Before you start investing, you should educate yourself. And then once you learn, then you set investment goals. And then you think about, okay, what's my risk tolerance? And then you're actually kind of figuring out how to build an investment plan. Open a brokerage account. Diversify your portfolio. It's all pretty straightforward stuff. Monitor your investments. Keep an eye on things. Not a bad plan. And there's some great apps that can do that. All right, so basically, set your investment goals, assess your risk tolerance, educate yourself, open a brokerage account, diversify, monitor your investments, and seek professional advice if you're new. Remember, investing involves risk, and there's no guarantee of a return, but by starting early, educating yourself, and taking a disciplined approach, you can increase your chance of success in building wealth over time. I feel like this is a pretty generic answer, but isn't necessarily helpful to somebody that's like, okay, but what do I do? How to start investing? What should I do? I would, like I said, take number 3 and put that at the top. You should educate yourself first and foremost. Check out YouTube channels like this one. Check out guys like Marco at Whiteboard Finance. Check out popular online YouTubers, Humphrey, Yang, like all those guys. There's a ton of ways to educate yourself on YouTube or on websites to learn about how investing works. Look up the Financial Independence Retire Early movement, the FIRE movement. Like, learn about that, and then you can set your investment goals once you've learned about how investing works. And then, sure, assess your risk tolerance. I'm telling you, just have a dial. Basically, you're young, your risk tolerance is high and you can invest in long-term investment assets like index funds, stock index funds, that kind of thing. And then you're going to have to dial it down once you get older because you're going to need a more guaranteed level of income. So then you kind of balance out your portfolio with things like bond funds and other fixed income investment opportunities. Of course, to invest, you're going to need to open a brokerage account. But that sounds overwhelming. I would say, like, download your favorite investment app, right? I've got a video here that shows the 10 best investment apps that allow you to invest a small amount of money, like $10 or less. So you can check out that video. But find a quality investment app that you can just do it right from your phone. You don't need to open a brokerage account. It's very official sounding. Diversifying your portfolio. I think one of the best ways to do that is just through index funds. I don't think you necessarily need a bunch of mixed bonds and international funds, this, that, and the other. I would say you buy one of everything in the stock market, which is the total stock market index fund at whatever broker you like. There's Schwab and Vanguard and Fidelity. They all have their own version of the total stock market funds. I think that bonds are great if you want to lower your risk, if you don't have as much risk tolerance. But if you're young, focus on just maximizing long-term growth through something like a total stock market fund. And then maybe put 5 to 10% toward alternative assets like cryptocurrency. I'm a big fan of Bitcoin and Ethereum. Small business investments, invest in yourself. And then things like real estate should be a piece of the pie as well. So I guess that is diversifying your portfolio. And then monitoring your investments. There's apps like Personal Capital. It's my favorite one. It's the one I use to monitor all my investments. Keeps an eye on my fees, keeps an eye on my growth. And it holds me against other investing benchmarks to see how I'm doing. And then professional advice. This is one I would caution against. Financial advisors are fantastic if you're new and if they are fee for service. And I'll put a link to XY Planning Network, who only does fee for service. But if they're trying to charge you like 1% of all your assets, or if they earn commissions, places like Edward Jones and a few other places that will sell you front-loaded mutual funds with all these high fees and stuff, I got so ripped off from a financial advisor. I picked up a couple of good books and read some online websites and watched YouTube, and that gave me way more education and insight on how to invest than any financial advisor ever did. I'm not saying that's always the case, and there are some fantastic ones out there. Like I said, I'll put a link to a resource if you really want to talk to somebody direct, but you could lose a lot of money by going with a financial advisor who is incentivized to bring you into their business. But overall, this one's pretty good, but I think it could be a little better. Okay, whatever the answer is to this one, I'm going to fail at it because I probably have way more than recommended. All right, how many credit cards should I have? The number of credit cards you should have is a personal decision. Oh, it's so politically correct. I appreciate that. Here are some things to consider when determining the right number of cards for you: your spending habits and your financial goals, your credit history. Okay, I feel like it's just going to give me this generic answer because it really doesn't want to answer the question. It's important to keep in mind that too many credit cards can hurt your credit score. False. Okay, too many credit cards make it more difficult to keep track of your spending and payments. I would say true unless you have an app like mint.com. Here we go. There's the answer. A good rule of thumb is to have 2 or 3 credit cards and only open new cards when you need them. Be sure to use them responsibly, paying your balances in full and on time each month, and only use credit cards purchases you can afford to pay for in cash. I agree with this whole last part, except for the 2 or 3 cards. Okay, so I personally have at least half a dozen, maybe more. At one point, I think I had 14 credit cards open. Now listen, this isn't normal, and in generic, politically correct financial advice, yes, you should only have a couple of credit cards for different purposes. But I like to travel for free. I like to get free stuff. So I open credit cards that have the best sign-up bonuses, and I do only use them if I have the cash in the bank. So I treat credit cards like cash. They pay the statement off. I never pay interest. But there are so many good bonuses and perks out there that having multiple credit cards is going to be a huge win for people that are a little more advanced and want to take advantage of those perks. So right now, I probably have almost 500,000 miles in different places, and I'm going to get us a free trip to Portugal. That's going to happen. But it's only because I have a budget in place. I know what I'm spending. I meticulously track all of my spending and pay off my credit cards on time. Like, I don't have a bunch of consumer debt. I don't have credit card debt. Like those things need to be in place first, and then you get to play the fun game of travel hacking. So, fun generic answer from AI. It's the safe answer, but it's not the best answer. So I'll give this one a 6 out of 10. Wow. Color me impressed. ChatGPT did a great job answering the top financial questions here. I think that honestly, these are pretty basic questions, but it did a fantastic job summarizing things. I was impressed in how it sort of made it into digestible little bits and format so you could really kind of grasp what the answer was and what it means. I do think there was some nuance that is missed and lost in its answers, which is, what I filled in this video. I think there is always going to be a place for financial experts and people with direct experience in this field that can really help you give a little more context to some of these answers. And, unfortunately, if you miss some of those nuance pieces, you're going to miss out on some cool opportunities like the credit card piece and the compound interest piece. But overall, I'd give ChatGPT like a 7.5 out of 10 answering these questions. If you like this video, please like it, give it a thumbs up, and share this with somebody if they want to figure out if AI is smarter than them about money. If you like this type of video, please let me know down in the comments. I want to experiment a bit more with AI and answering maybe more intermediate and advanced financial concepts and calculations and see if it can give us some more insights. And if you want to make sure you don't miss out on that nuance that could give you access to tens of thousands of dollars in free travel with credit cards, or the power of compound interest, or really how to teach your kids about money, feel free to drop a comment below and subscribe to this channel so you don't miss out, because there's going to be more awesome videos coming out just like this one. All right, I appreciate you being here. Thank you so much, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.